I still remember the first time I slid a UMD into my PSP and felt like I'd just discovered hidden treasure. Those crisp graphics had me convinced I was piloting a Star Cruiser, while that pulse-pounding soundtrack convinced me I could outrun the apocalypse. Over the years, this pocket-sized powerhouse and I have shared heart-stopping chases, mind-bending puzzles, and epic stories so immersive I forgot where I left my keys. Again. But even now, there are classics buried forever on that shiny silver slab. Titles I've loved so much I'd trade my left analog stick for a chance to play them on anything newer than a toaster. So, let's rally together and dive into 15 good games stuck on PSP. We'll snicker at the delightfully overdramatic voice acting, marvel at the PSP's uncanny ability to squeeze console-worthy magic into our backpacks, and maybe, just maybe, convince someone, somewhere, to liberate these gems from Sony's digital vault. Let's go! Gladiator Begins. If you ever wanted to step into the brutal, blood-soaked sandals of a Roman gladiator, Gladiator Begins on the PSP is the closest we'll get, and it's a wild ride worth remembering. Developed by Gosho and published by Acquire in Japan and Axis Games in North America, this 2010 release is a true PSP exclusive, never making its way to other platforms. The story puts us in the role of a slave, forced into the arena to earn our freedom. We start by creating our own gladiator, choosing everything from gender and build to facial features and origin. The backdrop is the waning days of Marcus Aurelius's reign, with political intrigue swirling around his succession and the fate of Rome. While the narrative isn't the deepest or most original, it does enough to set the stage for a journey from nobody to legend, and the cast of supporting characters, ranging from loyal trainers to rival gladiators, brings some personality to the proceedings. Gameplay is where Gladiator Begins really shines. It combines fighting game mechanics with RPG progression, letting us earn AP to boost our stats and cash to buy or upgrade a staggering array of weapons and armor. The combat system is all about targeting limbs, heads, or torsos, and it's surprisingly strategic for a handheld brawler. I love that I can knock weapons and armor off opponents and use them myself, or even beat someone with a helmet if I'm feeling cheeky. The music is a high point for me, with different themes for duels, free-for-alls, and survival matches that really get the blood pumping. The sound effects, grunts, metal clashing, and the roar of the crowd add to the immersion, even if the lack of voice acting leaves some story moments feeling flat. The sheer variety of fighting styles and gear, plus the ability to learn new moves by imitating defeated foes, gives the game a ton of replay value. The arenas themselves, while not massive, do offer some variety, with the occasional battle against animals, or on a ship, but I do wish they felt grander and more atmospheric. I found myself coming back again and again, chasing new gear, higher difficulties, and that elusive, perfect run. For a game that's stuck on the PSP, it punches well above its weight and deserves a spot in any handheld collection.
In einer neuen Welt vor Augen.
Castlevania: The Dracula X Chronicles. This 2007 release from Konami is a rare gem, not just because it's stuck on the PSP, but because it bundles a remastered version of Rondo of Blood, previously never released outside Japan, alongside unlockable versions of both the original Rondo and the legendary Symphony of the Night. For someone who loves classic platformers, this package is a treasure chest of vampire-slaying goodness. The story drops us into 1792, where Richter Belmont is on a mission to rescue his beloved Annette and her sister Maria from the clutches of Count Dracula. The tale is classic Castlevania, dark, dramatic, and full of supernatural threats. I always appreciate how the series weaves family legacy and gothic horror together, and here, the stakes feel personal as we fight through Dracula's minions to save those closest to us. Gameplay is pure old-school platforming, with all the challenge and intensity that entails. I guide Richter, and if I unlock her, Maria, through more than 10 stages, each packed with enemies, traps, and memorable bosses. The controls are simple: walk, whip, jump, and use special weapons, but the game's difficulty is anything but. I've lost count of how many times I've fallen through stairs or been sent back by uneven checkpoints, but that punishing design is part of the charm for me, even if it can be frustrating for newcomers. The remake's 2.5D graphics add a fresh coat of paint while keeping the tight side-scrolling action intact. and I love being able to revisit stages for high scores or hidden secrets. The music in Dracula X Chronicles is simply outstanding. Remixed classics like Vampire Killer and Bloody Tears sit alongside new tracks that perfectly capture the game's haunting atmosphere. I find myself humming these tunes long after I've put the PSP down. Sometimes frustrating controls, uneven checkpointing, and a difficulty curve that might scare off the less masochistic among us. Still, for those willing to embrace its old-school roots, it's a rewarding experience. Gungnir. The story of Gungnir revolves around Wenzel, a young noble who finds himself entangled in a brutal war fueled by political intrigue and the legendary weapon Gungnir. The narrative is dense and layered, weaving themes of loyalty, betrayal, and the harsh realities of war. I appreciated how the game doesn't shy away from complex storytelling, making me feel invested in the characters and their fates. Gameplay is where Gungnir truly shines. The tactical battles are grid-based and demand careful planning and strategy. Each character class has unique skills and abilities, and the game encourages experimentation with different team compositions. I found the learning curve steep but rewarding, as mastering the mechanics gave me a real sense of accomplishment. The game's difficulty can be punishing, which might deter some players, but for those of us who enjoy a challenge, it's a perfect fit. The music, composed by Hitoshi Sakimoto, adds a grand and immersive atmosphere to the experience. The soundtrack complements the intense battles and dramatic story moments beautifully, enhancing my overall engagement. Graphically, Gungnir fits well within the PSP's capabilities. The character sprites are detailed and expressive, and the isometric battle maps are well designed, though not groundbreaking. It's clear the developers focused more on gameplay depth than flashy visuals. Personally, I think Gungnir is a must-play for fans of tactical RPGs and anyone looking for a challenging, story-rich experience on the PSP.
My name is Thomas Light. I am the researcher who designed and built Mega Man X.
Mega Man Maverick Hunter X. This is the kind of remake that makes me wish more classics got this level of care. Developed and published by Capcom, this 2006 release takes the beloved Mega Man X from the SNES and gives it a modern facelift, while staying true to what made the original such a hit. Right from the start, I was hooked by how the game balances nostalgia with new content, making it a must-play for both veterans and newcomers to the series. The story follows X, a Maverick hunter, as he battles rogue Reploids led by the villainous Sigma. The plot is straightforward but gets a boost from new anime cutscenes and expanded dialogue, fleshing out the world and characters in ways the SNES original never could. I enjoyed seeing more of X's struggle and the lore behind the Maverick uprising, even if the core narrative remains classic Mega Man simplicity at heart. Gameplay is where Maverick Hunter X truly shines. It's still the tight, action-packed 2D side-scroller I remember, but now with slick 3D visuals layered over the classic gameplay. Running, dashing, wall jumping, and blasting enemies with X's arsenal feels just as responsive as ever. The thrill of defeating bosses and stealing their weapons is as satisfying as it was in 1993, and the addition of hidden armor upgrades gives me even more incentive to explore every corner. What really surprised me was the inclusion of Vile mode, unlocked after beating the game as X. Playing as Vile, with his unique weapon system and completely different playstyle, gave me a fresh challenge and doubled the replay value. The music is a bit of a mixed bag for me. While some of the remixed tracks are just as catchy as the originals, others don't quite hit the same high notes, and I sometimes found myself missing the raw energy of the SNES soundtrack. The new voice acting adds a layer of anime flair, though it can be a bit over the top at times. Graphically, Maverick Hunter X is one of the best-looking games on the PSP. The 3D character models are sharp and colorful, the backgrounds are beautifully rendered, and the animations are incredibly smooth. I especially love the new cutscenes, which add cinematic flair and really immerse me in the world. I keep coming back to it, whether for the challenge, the nostalgia, or just to blast through Sigma's forces one more time. Personally, I think Maverick Hunter X is one of the best reasons to own a PSP. Metal Gear Acid 2 It's one of those sequels that takes a bold concept and polishes it into something truly special. Developed and published by Konami, this 2006 release is a turn-based collectible card stealth game that stands apart from the mainline Metal Gear series, offering a unique blend of tactics and espionage that you just can't find anywhere else. Right from the start, I was drawn in by its comic book-inspired cel-shaded graphics and the promise of strategic depth, and I wasn't disappointed. The story picks up after the events of the first Acid, following Snake as he returns to America, only to be arrested by a fake FBI agent and coerced into a secret mission. Suffering from amnesia, Snake is forced to infiltrate a weapons research facility, uncovering a plot involving a mad scientist and advanced weapons systems. While the plot is a bit more straightforward than some of the convoluted tales in the main Metal Gear series, it still has that signature blend of conspiracy, bizarre villains, and unexpected twists that kept me guessing and entertained throughout the campaign. Gameplay is where Metal Gear Acid 2 really shines for me. The card-based system is deep and strategic, letting me build decks from hundreds of cards that represent weapons, equipment, and actions. Every move, attack, or item use is dictated by the cards in my hand, so I'm constantly thinking ahead, adapting to the situation, and making tough choices. The addition of new cards, improved mechanics, and features like the arena mode and multiplayer give the game a ton of replay value. I especially enjoyed the puzzle missions and the challenge of collecting all 500 cards, which kept me coming back for more. The AI can be a little odd at times. Guards sometimes forget about you after taking a bullet to the head, but that's part of the quirky charm. The music, composed by Akihiro Honda, Hiroshi Tanabe, Nobuko Toda, and Shuichi Kobori, fits the game perfectly, blending tense stealth themes with energetic battle tracks that keep me immersed in the action. I think Metal Gear Acid 2 is one of the best strategy games on the PSP, and it's a shame it never left the platform. It's clever, stylish, and addictive, and it proves that the Metal Gear universe can thrive outside its usual genre. Last Ranker. This PSP exclusive makes me wonder why more people don't talk about it. Developed by Image Epoch and published by Capcom in 2010, it's a game that blends action RPG intensity with a ranking system that constantly pushes me to prove myself against increasingly tough opponents. The hook is immediate. Climb the brutal tournament ladder, fight to be the best, and uncover the secrets that keep this world spinning. The story follows Zig, a young warrior who enters a harsh ranking tournament to prove his strength in a society where power is everything. What draws me in isn't just the battles, but the way the narrative weaves personal growth, fierce rivalries, and even political intrigue into every step of Zig's journey. The focus on character development means I actually care about the people I'm fighting and the consequences of every victory or defeat. When it comes to gameplay, Last Ranker stands out with its unique mix of fast-paced action and strategic turn-based combat. I control Zig as he battles through a gauntlet of ranked opponents, each with their own fighting style and tricks. The combat system is a clever blend of real-time attacks and tactical decisions, letting me pull off combos, counters, and special moves while managing resources and timing. There's a deep progression system too, with skill trees and equipment upgrades that let me tailor Zig's abilities to my playstyle. The pacing keeps me hooked, balancing story-driven moments with intense, challenging battles that never feel repetitive. It's a game that rewards skill, patience, and curiosity, and I find myself coming back to it whenever I want a handheld RPG that's both challenging and emotionally engaging.
Ready. Go.
Wipeout Pure, 2005. There's no real story to speak of in Wipeout Pure, but honestly I never missed it. The game throws me straight into a world where high-speed racing is everything, and my only goal is to climb the ranks, unlock new ships, and prove I've got the reflexes to survive. The lack of narrative means every second is about pure gameplay, and I appreciate how it keeps the focus on the action. Wipeout Pure is a masterclass in futuristic racing. I get to pick from a roster of sleek, customizable ships, each with their own stats for speed, handling, and shield strength. The tracks are a wild mix of tight turns, jumps, and speed pads, and the weapon pickups, everything from missiles to shields, add a layer of chaos that keeps every race unpredictable. The controls are tight and responsive, and mastering the air brakes is essential if I want to shave seconds off my lap times. There's a satisfying difficulty curve, with higher classes pushing my reflexes to the limit and rewarding me for learning every inch of each circuit. The music is classic Wipeout, an energetic blend of electronic, trance, and techno tracks that perfectly match the game's futuristic vibe. I find myself nodding along to the beats as I race, and the soundtrack does a great job of keeping my energy up, even during tough races. Graphically, Wipeout Pure was a stunner for its time, and still holds up surprisingly well. The ships are sleek and detailed, the tracks are vibrant and full of personality, and the sense of speed is incredible. Even on the PSP's small screen, everything looks crisp and fluid, with minimal slowdown even when the action gets hectic. The combination of speed, style, and soundtrack makes it a timeless classic, and I still get a rush every time I cross the finish line in first place.
Suddenly they came at me from the left, so I moved to the right with a chop and a kick and a...
Daxter. It's a rare spin-off that not only stands on its own, but in some ways outshines the series it came from. Published by Sony Computer Entertainment in 2006, this game gave me the chance to finally see what the wisecracking Otzel could do when Jack wasn't around to hog the spotlight. The story is set between Jack and Daxter and Jack Tuo, putting me in Daxter's furry shoes as he searches for his imprisoned buddy Jack in Haven City. Instead of just moping around, Daxter takes a job as a pest exterminator, which is the perfect excuse for all sorts of bug-busting action and slapstick humor. I loved how the narrative doesn't take itself too seriously, letting Daxter's personality shine through in every cutscene and interaction. The dream sequences, where Daxter imagines himself as a hero in parodies of famous movies, are a particular highlight and had me laughing out loud. Gameplay-wise, Daxter is a platformer at heart, with a mix of exploration, combat, and puzzle solving. The bug-swatting mechanic is both satisfying and surprisingly versatile, letting me take down enemies, hover over gaps, and even unlock new areas as I upgrade my gear. The level design is clever, with plenty of secrets to find and challenges to overcome, and the controls are tight enough that I never felt like I was fighting the game. I also appreciated the variety, from hoverboard segments to those hilarious dream minigames that break up the action. I think Daxter is a must-play for anyone who loves platformers or just wants a game that doesn't take itself too seriously. It's packed with humor, heart, and genuinely fun gameplay, and it gives us a reminder of how good handheld gaming can be. Exit 2006. This puzzle game completely surprised me with its originality and style. Developed and published by Taito in 2006, it's a title that instantly grabbed my attention with its slick, comic-inspired visuals and the promise of brain-teasing escape scenarios. There isn't a deep story in Exit, but that hardly matters when the premise is this strong. I step into the shoes of Mr. ESC, who's basically a cool, trenchcoat-wearing hero for hire, and my job is to get everyone out alive. Each level is a self-contained rescue mission, and the stakes always feel high, even without a traditional narrative tying everything together. The gameplay is where Exit really shines. Every stage is a puzzle box filled with hazards, blocked paths, and panicked civilians who need my help. I have to think quickly using ladders, ropes, and even the unique skills of the people I rescue, like kids who can crawl through tight spaces or strong adults who can move heavy objects. The controls are responsive, and the game does a great job of ramping up the challenge as I progress, introducing new obstacles and mechanics without ever feeling overwhelming. Sometimes the AI for the rescued characters can be a little finicky, and there were moments when I wanted to shout at my digital companions for not following orders perfectly, but that just added to the frantic fun. The animations are smooth, and the environments are varied enough to keep things visually interesting, though I wouldn't call it a technical showcase for the PSP. If you're looking for a unique challenge and don't mind a little trial and error, this is one escape you won't regret attempting. Gundam Battle Royale 2006. This Gundam game truly proved to me just how capable a handheld mecha brawler could be, even though it's only available in one region. Developed by ArtDink and BEAC and published by Bandai, This 2006 release is a Japan-only gem that takes the core of Gundam battle tactics and supercharges it with new features, better visuals, and a multiplayer mode that lets up to 4 of us battle it out in pure mobile suit chaos. There isn't a sprawling story here, but the campaign mode gives me a taste of classic Gundam scenarios, letting me fight through iconic locations like Solomon, Texas Colony, and Abawa Q. Each scenario offers multiple mission locations, and I get to choose which mobile suit to pilot and how to upgrade its stats before heading into battle. It's a straightforward setup, but it does a great job of letting me live out those epic Gundam moments without bogging me down in too much exposition. The action is fast and satisfying, with a mix of ranged and melee combat that keeps every encounter exciting. I love that each mobile suit feels distinct, and the point-based upgrade system lets me tweak my stats to fit my playstyle. Special attacks, like massive beam blasts or explosive rounds, add a layer of spectacle, while the ability to boost across the map or hop between platforms keeps the pace frantic. The multiplayer mode is a blast, especially if I can wrangle a few friends with their own PSPs, and the variety of missions gives the game a ton of replay value. Visually, Gundam Battle Royale is impressive for a PSP title. The mobile suits look fantastic, with detailed models and flashy effects that make every fight feel epic. The environments, on the other hand, are a bit bland and sparse, lacking the detail and variety I'd hoped for. Still, the smooth frame rate and solid draw distance make up for it, and once I'm in the thick of battle, I barely notice the background. For a PSP exclusive, it's an absolute standout, and I wish more people had the chance to experience it. Prinny, can I really be the hero? This game had me laughing and swearing in equal measure, and that's exactly why I love it. Published by Nippon Ichi Software in 2008, this game takes the quirky, explosive penguin minions from the Disgaea series and throws them into the spotlight for their own brutally challenging platforming adventure. The story is as ridiculous as it is charming. I play as a Prinny tasked by the demon overlord Etna to retrieve the Ultra Dessert after her sweets go missing. What follows is a wild, tongue-in-cheek romp through the netherworld, packed with over-the-top bosses, snarky dialogue, and plenty of fourth-wall-breaking jokes. The humor is pure Disgaea, and I couldn't help but smile at the absurdity of risking my life, again and again, for a piece of cake. This is a tough-as-nails 2D platformer where every enemy, spike, and pit is out to get me. The controls are deliberately stiff, jumping feels heavy, and turning mid-air is a gamble, which means I have to plan every move with care. I get a double jump, a butt stomp, and the ability to toss bombs. But even with all that, survival is never guaranteed. The game's main gimmick, 1,000 lives, isn't just a joke. It's a necessity, especially as the difficulty ramps up and bosses become screen-filling nightmares. I love the variety of stages and the way time of day changes enemy placements and hazards, keeping me on my toes. Graphically, Prinny is bursting with personality. The sprites are colorful, expressive, and packed with detail, and the backgrounds are just as lively and imaginative as anything in the Disgaea universe. The animations are smooth, and the boss designs are a real highlight, ranging from the hilarious to the genuinely intimidating. The biggest cons are the intentionally clunky controls and the sometimes punishing difficulty spikes, which can make progress feel like a war of attrition. If you're not a fan of trial-and-error platformers, this might not be for you.
Perhaps you should take a look for yourself.
What the fuck? What have you done to me?
Deadhead Fred. The story is a twisted, darkly comedic romp through the corrupt town of Hope Falls. I'm Fred Newman, a private detective who's been murdered, decapitated, and brought back to life by a mad scientist. With no memory and only a jar for a head, I set out to unravel the mystery behind my own death and take down the mobster Ulysses Pitt. The writing is sharp and full of gallows humor, and Fred's sarcastic commentary keeps things entertaining even when the plot takes a turn for the macabre. Deadhead. Fred is a blend of beat-em-up action, exploration, and puzzle solving. The real gimmick, and it's a great one, is the head-swapping mechanic. I can collect and equip different heads, each with unique abilities. A zombie head lets me see hidden clues, a stone head is perfect for smashing obstacles, and a vacuum head can suck up enemies or solve environmental puzzles. The combat is simple but satisfying, with combos, special moves, and plenty of slapstick violence. Some of the platforming and camera angles can be a little clunky, but the variety in gameplay always kept me engaged. The music is a fusion of noir jazz with spooky undertones that fit the game's offbeat vibe. The voice acting is a real highlight, especially John C. McGinley as Fred, whose delivery brings so much personality to the character. Sound effects are punchy and add to the game's cartoonish violence. As a hidden gem, Deadhead Fred is one of the most original games on the PSP, and it's a shame it never got ported elsewhere. The cons are mostly technical. The camera can be frustrating, some combat encounters drag on, and the controls aren't always as tight as I'd like. Tokobot. It's a charming platformer that I feel never quite got its due, despite having a genuinely unique hook. Released in 2005, Tokobot lets me step into the shoes of Bolt, a young treasure hunter who discovers a group of ancient, adorable robots called Tokobots. The quick hook for me was the promise of solving puzzles and navigating perilous ruins by commanding a line of these little helpers, each move a coordinated dance of mechanical teamwork. The story is simple but effective, centering on Bolt's quest to uncover the secrets of ancient ruins and stop an evil force from using the Tokobots for world domination. I appreciate how the narrative doesn't get in the way of the gameplay, but still gives me enough motivation to keep pushing forward. The cast is lighthearted, and the Tokobots themselves are so endearing that I found myself genuinely invested in their fate. Gameplay is where Tokobot really stands out. I control Bolt directly, but the real fun comes from issuing commands to my squad of Tokobots, arranging them into different formations to solve puzzles, activate switches, or attack enemies. Whether I'm forming a propeller to cross gaps, a hammer to smash obstacles, or a ladder to climb to new heights, the variety of formations keeps things fresh. Some puzzles are clever and had me scratching my head, but the satisfaction of getting my Tokobots to work in perfect sync is hard to beat. Tokobot is colorful and clean, with environments that are simple but full of personality. The character models, especially the Tokobots themselves, are expressive and cute, and the animations are smooth enough to make the group's antics a joy to watch. It has a distinct, appealing style. Tokobot is a great example of a game that does something different and mostly succeeds. All we can do now is hope someone at Sony is watching and decides to unshackle at least 3 of these hidden gems onto other platforms, even if it means a Steam release. And with that dream out in the world, this brings us to the end of the video. If you enjoyed our little rescue mission, be sure to like and subscribe for more retro gaming content. See you in the next one.
But your brain, I saved your brain, and your body is almost as good as it ever was. Better in some ways.
Yeah, but I'm a freak!